It's like Kyle and Clara.
Kyla hard kombucha.
But anyways, this kombucha comes in little 6-packs, and they're just little tiny bottles, kind of like, what are these, like 16 ounces, maybe less, I don't know. And all it really is, or differentiates from regular kombucha, is that it's alcohol content. So it's nothing added. It's just further fermented past the usual fermentation date of kombucha. So less organisms. My guess is that there's less organisms present within the environment because of the higher alcohol content, but I could be wrong.
Makes sense.
A certain bacteria might thrive in that exact concoction mix. I'm not sure, but there's 4% alcohol in each bottle. So yes, guys, I'm announcing this. This is true. I haven't drank in almost 2 years, but I had one of these kombuchas.
Ooh, shit.
And it fucked me up. Well, not like bad. I don't want to say fucked me up. Comparatively to what I'm used to, which I'm not used to any alcohol whatsoever, other than the Black Label GT's kombucha, which is like a joke. Don't even get a mini buzz off that. I got like an actual, what I remember as a beer buzz, and it was super quick. I went to sleep automatically.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool.
I've got like a mild buzz going on off this.
Yeah?
I've been sipping this. I'm almost done with it. I'm almost finished this bad boy.
It's not too bad.
Mild, just little kind of relaxer going on.
Yeah.
Plus, we've had some BTs of the ganj, so it
Yes.
does remind me of some party days.
Yes.
It is taking me back.
We're doing it big over here.
Spent some time in some party kitchens, if you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm chopping up the old party dice here. I'll get the salad. I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, it means we're just trying new things. How about that?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this kombucha rules. I mean, shout out. It's got a cool little Mount Rainier kind of thing going on there. Is it not? Or is
think
it Mount
so.
Hood? Brewed in Hood River, Oregon.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of Oregon,
Whoa, I
we'll
was
be out
talking
there.
about that. Yeah.
Yep. Brewed in Hood River, Oregon. Shout out. It's the hard kombucha with a hint of hibiscus lime.
Yeah, so it was,
All the stuff.
it really just tasted like a light beer. I used the word Pilsner is what Amanda, being a bartender, used. It's like something short of a Stella, if you've ever had one. So it tastes like a beer, but it's like vaguely reminiscent of a kombucha. So it's just, like I said, higher alcohol content, still kombucha, which is what kept me in the range. It was like, okay, just try it. Didn't get a whole 6-pack to myself, first of all. I had one serving, put me way over. But I guess all of this kind of started because, like when I first walked in, I've been having these overpowering urges or thoughts, like around the subject of, and this is correlated to like why me and Ryan meditated in the first place, because we were like, okay, look at all these successful dudes, these people who are just like masters of their mind, this time-space reality. They're just killing it. They meditate. They're multi-billionaires. They have these great habits. And I was like, they all meditate. Well, I'm going to meditate. That was kind of my thought process too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to a point where I'm like, these guys are all on vegan diets. I think of like Tony Robbins. He's like the pinnacle, right? Super motivating, super energized, just on his shit. But this guy still drinks wine. He has a glass of wine with his wife, and his, you see him like after the post, like, I don't know what you call him, a show. It'd be more of like an event, with a glass of wine. And I'm like, dude, like there has to be, okay. One, alcohol, I don't think should be had every day. I don't.
Right.
The reason I stopped is because I seen how unconscious it made me back when I first had awareness, and it scared the fuck out of me because I was like, dude, seeing the unconsciousness, seeing the consciousness, I was like, I'd much rather prefer. So I've stayed really clear, cleansed my body now, and now I see what it like really does to me. But it brings up thoughts like, okay, there has to be something to wine that makes it so appealing, because you don't see Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza or Bill Gates taking shots or even drinking beers, really. But they all drink wine. And I think there's certain compounds in wine, for one, it being aged for so long. There's got to be certain microbacteria that are just thriving in that environment. There's things like resveratrol, which is like an anti-aging thing. There's like, I think there's something called a polyphenol, which is like antioxidant in wine. And I'm like, there has to be something to it. Having a glass can't be too bad. But if you're having it like, and I used to not drink a lot of water when I was drinking alcohol either. So super dehydrating, made me unconscious, made me feel sick, made me feel like shit the next day. But it was because I was over consuming. Just like I was over consuming with cannabis. Now I have a better relationship with cannabis, and I'm trying to like nurture that relationship I have with wine. Just because, one, it's fun to make. Two, you said you got to have something to talk about, to Gary Vee with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You have to have a little wine knowledge, and maybe even if he's like, hey guys, let's try this wine, and he pours us a glass, I want to be able to take it.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll be like, yo, this is a fine Merlot. It's, 1975, Ireland. Oh. Complex.
taste the tannins.
Diverse. Yeah. Wine
So-
tasting's fun.
Yeah. So we actually decided prior to the show that we're all gonna, as a group, some friends, this coming Monday, we're gonna go get some vegan food. We're gonna all go have a glass of wine.
We're going to start drinking. It's going to
Yeah.
turn into a new drinking show, guys. I'm already fucked up, man. Hey, y'all got the hard tie, that cider. This does kind of taste like a fine cider. I was like,
The
George
games,
Bush.
The games have begun. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be something that I frequent. I don't even know if I'll drink every week. But like, maybe once a month, have a glass or a celebratory glass, like you've talked about prior with like New Year's, something like that. And
Fuck yeah.
yeah, and wine makes me feel totally different than hard alcohol or even like
Yeah.
beer. So it's a fine line of finding the ones that I really like. I won't be drinking white wine; it's just too much sugar. Feel like shit the next day. I'll probably be sticking to like Cabernets, Merlots, or like mixtures, like red blends. But I'm gonna really start looking into like organic wines, like none of the GMO shit, nothing that has no pesticides. That like really is just synthesized pesticides. That's really what a lot of juices are, right? So something that's organic, something that's maybe localer or across the world, as long as it's organic and I know it's like good shit. Maybe it was
Yeah.
aged a while. I don't know. I'm gonna do more research, but I'm like
Totally.
easing back into that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, shit. Like, I crave like a little glass of wine once a month.
Yeah.
Usually when I drink that glass of wine, when I'm done with that glass of wine, I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, I don't really need a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't push the bottle away, like go somewhere else. And I'm one bottle, one glass, I'm fine. You know
That's
what I
all
mean?
it takes.
That's all I need.
That's all I need. Yeah.
You know? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, 1 month later, I don't know if I should be drinking on the shows anymore.
It's one kombucha, man. Don't worry.
Well, if you do listen to the earlier shows, I was drinking wine on some of the earlier recordings. I think I was drinking beer or wine or something. Yeah,
I think it
couple
was. I
times.
think it was a wine.
A couple times I
I
had some
remember a
wine.
wine. I remember that.
You know, we used to be loose here on the Lifted scene.
Well, loosier goosier, and I think it just opens up because the wine industry is just such a vast industry. There's just so much wine. Even like Joe Rogan talks about wine, and he's not, and that's like his not drink of choice maybe, but I just see all these people. Gary Vee,
Yeah.
is my major like bing.
Totes,
The
dude.
alarm goes off, but I don't know.
Yeah. When we go to those big Hollywood parties, we want to sit around with some wine
Yeah.
before they try to initiate us into some weird Hollywood scam, some
Oh.
scandal,
Some satanic something.
some kind of like,
Watch out for this.
like that might lead us into the trip hour here. We're coming in at 40 minutes on the show.
Ooh, snap. Well, do you want to get into?
I don't know. We
I
could
don't really
shift
have
gears.
anything meditation or yoga extra. I just want to get into spacey talk.
Yeah, man. Let's just jump into some spaciness.
Let's get into the spacey talk.
I think we're ready for it.
This is the part of the show that you guys love. We love it too because conspiracy or spaciness is no longer theory because there's factual evidence around the world. I have a couple things to talk about too that we can get spacey on. Basically, guys, shit is just happening. Our planet is finally coming out of this mass control of our consciousness through technology.
Can I get that
Yeah, Mike.
smokable?
And
Thanks, Blair.
I love being a part of it. I love being able to talk to you guys about what's happening as it's happening, whether it's the video or it's me relaying information from my girlfriend, that's what she does in her spare time. Like right now, I guarantee she's at home just watching videos, updates on what's happening, energetic shifts that have been happening on our planet that are measurable, that people are very aware of. So much shit, dude. It's incredible. I have so much to talk about. I don't really know where to start. Do you have anything?
Man. Well, it's funny. We were kind of wrapping on. I mean, when it comes to theories and these conspiracies and stuff, you can really kind of go just about anywhere. Some of these big ones, though, really sort of generally encapsulates a lot of what's going on. And I would say Hollywood, or should I start with by saying there are such things as the elites, or there's this core group of, any description for what might be rich white men, people, men who rule the world, the elites, the global elites.
Globalists.
Globalists.
Yeah, you're
elites.
right.
So there's some kind of power that's ultimately in charge, which, isn't it trickles down into like the Hollywood, the stars, celebrities, who's this, who's that, this and that, like creating trends all the way to the weather manipulation systems, which have been probably going on for like 150 years.
Yeah.
We don't really know. I mean, these things have been built and toyed with for a really long time and kept secret, but not even that much secret. There's a lot of documented proof of these geothermic, nuclear ionospheric heating facilities.
Oh, wow. That sounds crazy.
They're all over the place. Holy fucking turds. I was watching, pardon my French. Pardon my French. I was watching a video today that it just scanned through and showed a bunch of coordinates of these ionospheric facilities.
Oh,
these
like in your
heating
story? Like that
the one I
disc
showed
thing?
on my story,
Okay,
dude. I just typed in one. This is the first one I saw. They listed like a dozen of them at least. And I just typed for the fuck of it. I'm like, oh, I got Google Maps. I know how to use this shit.
Yeah.
I'll type in this fucking right away. It just comes up this big concrete ball looking thing in this ionospheric total facility. It's like a heating facility. It's in the middle of freaking Iceland or something.
Wow.
No, this one was Puerto Rico.
Okay.
But there is one in Iceland. Puerto Rico. Just random out there, like on one of the smaller islands.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of fun. But yeah, when you start researching some of the weather manipulation things, it's sort of like what you would picture if there was somebody sitting in a room that had a button that says tornado, like ding, let's do it. All right, cool, tornado. But what they found out is if they make a tornado in one area, somewhere there's going to be a drought in another area. So you can run into trouble very easily.
I can see that.
But you know what? I mean, shit. I believe it. I think it's a real thing.
Dude, I can't vouch for people in like the Midwest where there's like a lower population, but if you come to Seattle, you come to like these high volume places like Florida, California, go on Instagram and look at the hashtags of chemtrail. And that word in itself I don't like because the media has deemed it as, conspiracy talk. The media wants to call it a contrail. There's a difference between a contrail and a chemtrail. A chemtrail is a chemically laid or remnant trail you can see dissipating or actually diffusing or becoming more cloud-ish after, even moments or minutes and half an hour after it's been left by the plane. Whereas a contrail is something that's temporarily left from the plane being at a certain atmosphere. So, for instance, like temperature of a contrail, you can tell something's a contrail if it's on a lower scale, lower height, because there's more moisture that's closer to the earth. But if you have a chemtrail up where there's not as much moisture content, I guess you can call it the ionosphere, right? Where it's like more towards the separation from oxygen to carbon dioxide within our flat Earth / round Earth. I'm not really sure yet. But you'll notice too, if you really sit, like if you have a day off, I'm not saying look at the sky for 8 hours, but take time to look up and to see how many lines can you see across the sky. Here, like it's sick, dude. It's gross. This is gross. You'll see like 5 or 6 lines in a row. There's X's. And then
the cross patterns.
Yikes. You've heard this. And this is kind of like, from what I've heard, it's like a signaling to that's like a pivotal spot, or that's where like trade winds are meeting, and that's where the most dispersion can happen of these chemicals. So I watched a video. There's that guy that British guy. It was like BBC. They had like their sports car show for a while. He's the taller guy. He was doing something where they were showing this huge machine out in the middle of nowhere. You can't hear anything he's saying. He's got these huge earplugs on, and he's doing a voiceover. And he's like, "You probably can't hear me." And there's this big machine just like chugging out like what looks like a cloud. And then 20 minutes later, it's like downpouring. And I'm like, wow, they literally just displayed that they could do this. Now, if you can create fucking rain somewhere, what happens if you increase the vibrational frequency or activity of that area through some kind of like sonic sound waves or something? Like, the technology is there. And obviously it's just like with, we heard George Bush talking about prior, like, they put all these technologies out there and say, this has been brought to our attention and we're not doing it. Do you think that stops people from, like 10 years, we always talk about like Dolly the lamb. 10 years ago, they were like, the first human lamb, the first cloned lamb Dolly. And then, at one point in time, people were like, oh my God, cloning. Oh, that'll never happen. That's only experimental. Now they have like businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses where they clone certain types of dogs and they sell dogs. This is on YouTube too. And it's like, you don't think people progress or further their information or their depth of knowledge in these situations to try to quote unquote benefit humanity? Oh no, man. People keep going. People keep developing. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. It's this layer after layer of layers. So by the time these clouds get down to where a contrail is supposed to be, they're so spread out. And then ours, you'll see this tomorrow, like our skies here in Seattle, and if you're a local listener, you'll agree, have just been blacked out. Not black, but like clouded out. My honest personal opinion as to why we have so much happening right now is because my true belief is that there is extraterrestrial, some kind of like battle and or ships docking within a visible proximity or
space war.
Some kind of like a space war, like we're like, this is
There's
space
been,
right here,
there's
right?
been signs of this.
Of like China and Russia helping America to fight off the last of these like reptilians that are still within our reality, that they're not going to be able to exist here. They're kind of just like on the last hurrah, and they're just like, fuck it, we're going to still, they're trying to win kind of a thing. But I think they're really just trying to cover up what's happening up there. Because one of the things I want to talk about today is kind of cloud related too. Is a lot of people, if you go on YouTube and you type in like rainbow clouds, people have been seeing these like random rainbow clouds, and it's not like a reflection. There's like hundreds of people. There's one in San Jose that we watched the video of that. These clouds, they're just iridescent. It kind of reminds me of the talk we had about what the event is going to be like, but just like smaller scale, just random clouds. And apparently these have to do with other civilizations like the Pleiadians and other like beings from other star systems. Either somehow they're here, or they're sending messages, or I don't know. I've just been seeing a lot of that, so it's kind of cool. Let me see if I can find one for you.
Interesting. Like it could be some kind of interstellar reaction. Like if another being comes into our dimension, there's some fucking shit that happens. There's like some whipping force of entering a black hole or whatever and whatnot, and this interstellar travel, which is very trippy stuff. It's spacey. It's right up our alley.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This all just falls under that general blanket of, the global elitists creating this whole scheme of stuff to cover what's going on in the sky, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I fully believe it. There's been lots of reports, even just this week. There was a report over the Bay Area of a floating object. Then it just exploded. Loud boom. These people reported this huge loud
windows
boom.
Were shaking and all that.
People heard it right in their house. Yeah, this huge report. Everyone in the Bay Area saw this.
Dude, that's crazy. Like imagine just sitting on your deck and watching, well, I don't know how many people saw it, but a lot of the footage was seen. So it starts with this like this background, little like, white dot kind of moving super slow for a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden it's this huge flash. And I think it was like hitting into a warp drive or some shit like that, right? Yeah. Like really like fucking some energy up. Just
maybe it came down and it knew it was gonna get it knew it was gonna explode or some shit. And it was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna show these Earth people we're fighting up here. This is my last chance. I'm gonna die anyways. So it just came down into our little visible spectrum.
Example I've ever seen of this phenomenon.
Yeah, this cloud is like
at least
all 7 colors of the rainbow.
Vivid
neon
color.
clouds,
super vivid.
Almost looks fluorescent.
There's people on their deck just like
stuff.
Yeah, seriously, just looks like some cotton candy, like a cloud.
How vivid those are.
Like a colored cloud, like seriously, like they colored this
sharing
cloud
with you exactly
like
as
on
it was sent to me.
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, like a little
That
paint
is
box, color box.
Pretty remarkable. Look at that.
This guy's got a great voice.
Look at that.
I would say that
you can tell the
there's
authenticity.
a little more going on here than just ordinary ice crystals, but they're actually
That's the
calling
explanation.
this a cloud, or it's an iridescence cloud. And
it's a new
there's some
species of cloud.
examples of the
Iridescence
phenomenon.
cloud.
You can see it on soap bubbles.
Look it up
you
on
can see it on
Wikipedia.
fuel. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be associated with something more than just
Like
the angle and shape of
I
ice
said, they just showed a
crystals.
picture of
That
like
is
bubbles, like when
exceptional.
kids blow bubbles. That the bubble kind of has a little like
iridescence.
sphere, the iridescence. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sphere, that rainbowish spheric.
Right.
I wonder if this is kind of like
Nature. Very cool.
somewhat of the same thing. I don't know.
Thank you, Magpie, for sharing that with us. We really appreciate
So
it.
a bunch of that
That's
stuff's been happening. Been super intrigued. Just like, energetically, we talked about the Schumann resonance once prior. Basically, it's the vibration or the sound that the Earth gives off. I think at one point in time when we had spoke about it, it was like at an 8 or a 10 or a 15 or 20. And now it's like close to 150, I think.
Damn.
Which is like, whoa, that's measurable energetic change. And I think it has a lot to do with why people are just losing their shit.
Yeah.
Amanda posted this meme, and it was, if you watch Rick and Morty, it was Rick holding open Morty's eyes, basically saying like the universe is forcing everyone to look at their shit whether they want to or not, and like deal with their stuff. Like everyone's being forced to. And I've been super happy with just like, it sucks to sometimes it sucks to find things out about you're like, oh man.
Well, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, right?
Because it could be a fucking like 10-year transition for some people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Totally, man.
when I first started getting these, I don't know, realizations and whatnot, it's probably like 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And then slowly, little by little. And then luckily, I'm an open-minded dude. And so I wasn't fighting it. I was just accepting it and accepting responsibility for everything in my life just because I knew that that's how the cards fell. But then all these other things I'm learning about and consciousness and awareness. And yeah, man, it's kind of a process. I think it's kind of a process for people. But,
Yeah. And imagine like being, I just think of I reference my parents, just because they're the generation that grew up after the generation that went through the Great Depression, and they have this like lack mindset, and they're controlled by the media. The media is their source of 100% irrefutable data, which is like just funny. It's just funny. Like people are like, I was watching the news the other day. I don't even want to hear what they have to say because unless it's about some fucking extraterrestrial UFO shit, I don't want to hear about who got shot and all that. And we talked about this prior with other shootings and stuff. Like it's not that we don't care, it's that we don't mind. We choose not to hold that within our vibration and our putting a conscious attention to it. Like this whole gun, what was the march for our lives? That was one of the biggest crocs of shit I've ever seen.
well, I don't even know what that is. What is this?
There was a shooting, and I want to say it was in Florida. If I have
The recent school shooting?
yeah. So the kid that was speaking at this, most of the world thought that this kid went to this high school, and turns out he's just like a CNN actor. Doesn't even go to the school.
No. Nice.
Like stuff like that's happening. They're just like
For sure.
all last resort stuff, like to keep people distracted or to take the eyes off of what's really happening. So like in Florida also, there was a bridge. Did you see that?
I saw that, yes.
This bridge was newly constructed a week prior, a week after it was constructed or deemed checked off and ready to go. Imagine all the people and millions of dollars that went into building that bridge. It's hurricane level 5 proof, but it fell a week after being constructed. It makes no sense. How do you fuck that shit up? You don't. This is all these little things happening all over. You call them false flags. Really cool stuff's happening though.
Oh, hell yeah. Cool, good stuff out
I guess
there.
we can switch up the vibe. I don't want to get to that negativity, but for all the negative happening, there is definitely positive. So, for instance, Kim Jong-un, like no one ever of his family has ever met with the president, from my knowledge. And him, Donald Trump, and I think the Emperor of China, or King of China, Emperor, King. I think China's the only place that has Emperor, right?
Emperor? Sounds right.
Or is it Japan?
Allegedly.
I think it might be Japan. They have, I don't know, regardless. President King. They're all going to be meeting pretty soon, like a face-to-face meeting. And this has to be a face-to-face meeting because there's so much social media word translation. There you go. It's Pineapple Express by Gabriel Cannabis, brought to you by which is crazy because they were at quote unquote gunpoint with each other at one point in time. But now what I think they're meeting up for is there's this mass change. There's no longer going to be the Federal Reserve. That's one thing. We're no longer going to be control under the dollar. I think we're going to be switching back to gold standard, which China is going to kind of run. They're going to kind of like head. I think they're going to be like the new financial system of the world. We're going to have a new, like, it's supposed to be like a financial reset. We're supposed to, that's a lot of the info me and Amanda are seeing.
What about cryptocurrency? Is that going to be playing a role?
I haven't heard that yet, which is kind of, I'm like, oh, I wonder, because I invested in crypto this last year. And I would love for it to see it, flourish.
For sure.
But at the same time, like, dude, we're gonna have. I think money or just buying stuff or anything like that is gonna be the last thing in our minds when people like me and you, who I think were sent here from other star systems or galaxies, to basically help to raise the consciousness of people. When the event happens and the major tipping point happens, which I think we've already hit a tipping point where more than half of or more so the people on our planet are more conscious
Right.
and aware of this galactic brotherhood. Apparently there's like 52 local stars within our star system, and there's a
Really?
representative from every star.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. And there's this there's this cosmic brotherhood that we're just not a part of, that we're gonna be waking up to. And
Oh, damn.
dude, like that's gonna be the last shit in my mind about hustling for money. Like
Yep.
when we're just all free and we're just focusing on raising each other up, the first thing is gonna be healing. That's the first priority, and that's why we're here. You know, we're healing.
Yeah.
Think of what we do here on the show. We help people to heal their mindsets, their mind, their bodies. That's gonna be what we're doing, but at a mass scale. So that's what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna have this financial shift pretty soon. My personal feels.
Dude, that'd be crazy. I mean, you know, there's things in place to happen by like 2020 or 2021. I don't know. It's
totally.
stuff that I'm not even sure about, so I don't want to talk out of my ass. But
If you watch the movie Valerian, you'll see that they kind of play this timeline from the first time we go to space. It's like 1969. You know, they see the rocket. Then they show like 1980. They show like jets or whatever, and then they show the space station, like Russia and America coming together, and China coming together in one space station. And then they get to like 2020, and there's like this huge space station, and this is like it's like the first time an extraterrestrial group goes and meets, and they shake hands, and then they're a part of that space station. This is what happens in Valerian. 100+ years of just all these extraterrestrial groups coming together into this one orb, and then that orb that they all meet up in that space station starts drifting off into space, and they start becoming their own entity.
oh yeah,
Dude,
what was this?
Valerian?
Valerian?
Valerian. It's a pretty trippy spacey movie, and they
I
do.
think
like,
I've seen the part where all the species shake hands with each other and they all meet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I think that, I mean, just think of how many, like, there's going to be no, I mean, dude, we've been literally, I can't even fathom this sometimes, but for thousands of years, we have been under the control of another extraterrestrial race. And they've been using consciousness to hold us down, or like our subconscious minds to hold us down. Like, we're going to have connections that we've never had before, not just like interplanetary, extraterrestrial related, but I think we're going to have inner Earth related relations. We're going to have all these different beings that are just coming out of the woodworks, interdimensional travel, and all this technology is going to be given to us because it's like our sovereign right to be able to live life this way. Like, I don't think anything's going to be held back. And we're going to be different human beings. Like, there's going to be this energetic shift. The third and last wave that's supposed to be hit that we've been talking about for a while, it's going to hit, and it's gonna jack people up in a good way. People are going to be just more woke. Like, there's going to be people, I'm pretty sure me and you are going to wake up with telepathy, which is like the language of the universe, being able to talk to anybody, telekinesis, moving shit with our minds. Like, I'm pretty sure all these different things are going to be occurring, and money's going to be the last thing in my mind.
For sure.
I think that's kind of where we're going to. But at the same time, we might have a financial system.
Yeah.
Might not be the same, but I think everyone's going to have a chance to rock it and to win. And they're not going to have to pay, like, for instance, on my car note, the interest every month has been $50. And I've had this loan for 2 years. How much money in just taxes or in interest I paid?
Interest. Yeah.
It's fucked up. All that money could have gone somewhere else. But why?
Yeah.
It's because of the gain from, my interest rate was still pretty good, but still, like, $50 adds up. It's been a couple years.
And that's just like that system you get into, when you want to buy a car, you're like, fuck, I'm going to sign up for it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's everything is going to change. Everything. And I'm so pumped up for it. And but it feels in line. Like, I feel like I let the job go, the 9 to 5 go. I've been getting more creative, and it feels good just to be me and to be able to focus on what I want and to not have to worry about. I kind of feel like I'm out of that system already. Like, I've never felt more out of the matrix than I do right now. It's been weird to like not have a job, quote unquote job, like a 9 to 5 where I go and have to work for someone else, or I haven't had that before, so it's been really weird, but it's been really cool. It's like a peek into the future, kind of,
Dude, totally, man. Yeah, I used to take little vacations from my 9 to 5 just for that, to practice that, to practice an entrepreneurial lifestyle.
Yeah.
I take like just a week off work, be like, all right, it's like a work week. It's a home week, staycation, but I'm waking up early. I'm like, doing whatever, just working on my shit, like just doing what I would do and doing what I'm doing today. You know what I mean? Just like trying to better myself. Essentially, I kind of get to wake up and do whatever I want. Luckily, I want to do things where it makes me better instead of, just going out for a leisure walk or hanging with your friends or eating donuts or doing something.
Yeah.
It's not going to move you forward in life, but, essentially I get to do what I want every single day. And so that's fucking awesome, And if I want to learn shit on YouTube, I'll learn shit, edit some video, do my things, get jobs, just hustle, keep the grind up. But that's what I love. That's what draws me to that lifestyle. And, I'm trying to I want to get to a point where the last thing on my mind is money. I want to just focus on doing my thing. I want to have that passive income lifestyle. I want to have that passive income mindset where I know money's coming in. Like I know it's coming in. I'll do a job here, do a job there, but it's not really work. It's just, I just want to do what I do every day. And then just that money just comes in. I just attract that energy instead of thinking about things like I should be like a business wise, okay, did this job. Here's an invoice, made this much money in the bank. Here it is. I still have to do that shit. I still have to bookkeep, but it's more of the mindset of how you're living your life is you don't worry about making money. So you can put your energy towards other things.
Dude, that's key. I didn't believe it for a long time. I didn't know that money was an emotional game. Like how you feel is how you attract. Like that's it, plain and simple. What you feel or think about the most is what you get. So if you're focused on money all the time, you're going to focus on your current belief systems about money. And that's going to keep you in the same exact. You can't get there from there, as Abraham Hicks would say. You have to change your vibration. You have to change your mindset, put yourself into a better mood that allows you to get into not just a receptive mode, but into a mode of passion where you're able to exemplify yourself and live from your center and live from your purpose. And then once you start benefiting others from there, that's when you start to see the financial gain or the financial benefits or feedback or interest of your whatever you're doing. So I've been really focused on first, shout outs to Adrian, finding what feels good. And just holding on to that, hold on to it like the whole day. So microdosing helps for sure, but smoking some ganja helps. Or drinking a little wine, I guess in the future might help a little. But really, just working on the inner state of how you are, what are your emotions like right now, and that equates to it doesn't make sense to the logical mind, but the way the universe works, the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, which is and anywhere you go in the universe, the law of attraction is present. When you do the things you want to do, you attract more of that into your life. So if you're doing things with passion, and then you can figure out how to tweak it to maybe get some financial gain, that's probably the best way. But anytime I've started something with the idea of okay, I'm going to do this to make money, it's always ended up flopping. Or when I get to a spot where I'm like, I feel pretty good, I'm progressing, it flops. And it switches on me because the foundation was money. The foundation wasn't love or helping people or pushing. It's always been the money mindset. And I realized, one of the affirmations I've been trying to hold in my mind, or that I've been repeating often on my sheet that I have for this month or this quarter, I guess you can call it, is one I took from Money Is My Friend. It's a really good book. It is I forgive myself for using money to control people. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, how does this person know this? Was I doing that? Am I doing that? And I think of my family who trained me. And I think of my father, think of my mother, I think of people in that whole area, my family. They've all used money to control their situations and other people. And I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
So yeah, you're right, dude. That mindset around money, it's changing your feelings about money, not changing what you say about money, because you're still gonna have the same feelings. So it's it's that work. You got to finding what feels good, holding on to certain affirmations. Yeah, I'm listening to something over and over and over and over again until you're like, okay, I've got it. I can say this in my mind until I don't, without listening to it. That's once you're like, I got this.
Yeah. You
don't need to listen to it probably anymore because it's already ingrained in your subconscious.
Totally. It really works.
Yeah, it really does.
It really works. Your subconscious, man, is so powerful. Pretty sure this is where we left off last show. We were talking about basically that subconscious.
Yeah.
Listening to these affirmations before you go to bed, while you're sleeping, in the morning, when you first wake up, go to bed, having these things constantly go into your brain, because everything that enters your brain, any kind of stimuli, it goes into your subconscious somehow, some way or
Everything.
another.
Everything.
I never really like took that seriously for a long
No,
time.
neither
You know
did
what I'm
I.
saying? I used to listen to fucking heavy metal music. I mean, I still do. I mean, like death metal and shit, but like people be like, whoa, what's up with the death metal? It's like, I mean, I just like it. To me,
Yeah.
it's fucking great. It's like
Mhm.
good. But thinking about that aggressive, extreme energy I'm putting into my
Mm.
brain, you know, could have got me high strung, could have got me stressed out or
very
something.
true.
You know, I don't know. I mean, it brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Release a lot of energy. But who knows? I mean, it could be correlated. But like I said, you know, anything that comes into your life, any kind of stimuli through your ears, enters through your senses, it hangs out and lingers in your subconscious. So this is why it's important to listen to these little mantras, you know, week after week, night after night, morning after morning, whatever. And it slowly gets in your brain, your little subconscious. Super important. Your subconscious, it's like a recipe for your day or your life or your reality.
Yeah.
You got to throw out the right ingredients. Just got to put the right ingredients in there and just let that stew cook up.
Yeah. I gotta let it marinate, man.
Let that shit marinate, man. You're smoking it.
Dude, the best analogy I've heard is last week on the subconscious mind. Because the more I realize, the more you influence the subconscious mind, that's when, you know, if you don't have to think about it, and it's just going on in the background, that's how you attract it, when you embody it, not by
Boom.
consciously trying to do it.
That's living it.
So imagine how vast your subconscious mind is. It's 90%. So where your mannerisms, your movements, your attitude, your beliefs, everything about you, 90% of it is stored in your subconscious. Holy shit, that's
Crazy.
a lot. That's a lot, right? I've heard, you know, 95%. So within 5 to 10% is only your conscious mind. I would say we're probably up to a 10%. Like we're more conscious than, I don't want to say most folk, but we're getting up there.
Got a woke level.
I know that there's people that I can't even fathom their level of consciousness on this planet. They've been alive twice as long as me. They've been doing it twice as long as me. Like I can only fucking imagine.
Dang.
But what I do know is that how powerful the subconscious mind is. And by using the 10% conscious mind to influence the subconscious mind, that's where willpower comes in to effectively or consistently to always constantly be putting stuff into your subconscious mind to make it a normality.
Mm-hmm.
The analogy I learned was it's like having a pipe burst and then calling an electrician. He gets there and being like, okay, well, here's your job. It's not going to work like that. You have to hire a plumber for that. It only makes sense. So to get the job done, go right to the subconscious mind. So this can be, you know, affirmations, writing. A tip that I've learned that I want to implement is writing certain affirmations every day, like 25 times, at least once a day. And like writing, I guess writing has the nearest or best connection to your subconscious mind, as far as like if you're writing it, you have a mind-body connection at the same time.
I believe that.
You know, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, damn, like this is written in Think and Grow Rich, believe it or not. Of course, what do you know?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, all this stuff I didn't used to take seriously about this book. I'm like, I really need to take this serious. So I've been trying to stay as consistent as I can, but using the conscious mind to every day find time. And this is where I gotta double down and get serious. Is like, I don't have a job right now. I'm still making income, so I have to focus my time to get a schedule. Like, you know, waking up early, like yourself, waking up early and dedicating not just time to a meditation and yoga practice, but spending like maybe 20 minutes writing some affirmations, writing things that I want that feel good to me.
Anything.
You know, listening to something in the background as I read or whatever it might be, but priming the brain for the day so that you don't fall into your old patterns. And even though it might feel uncomfortable and not right, you're still ingraining something new until that becomes a normality. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I remember writing this down like 2 years ago, and I'm seeing this. You know, like I remember I was looking through a notebook and I found like an old note from like when I first started the whole affirmation game. It's like a couple years ago, and it was kind of interesting. I'm like, oh wow, that came true. Just saying all these things, but being consistent.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I'm having, I guess, a tough time is staying consistent at that. But I've been trying to read more. If I fell off my reading game, haven't been on the book club game.
But I haven't cracked open a book in a minute here.
I just finished. Actually, I'm like pretty close to finishing one that my hypnotherapist gave me. And dude, you know, not too often do I think out loud to myself, like, holy shit, I have a new paradigm. Like, it shifted something in me that, like, I'm like, wow, I see my whole life a whole new different way. And there was this book called, I wrote it down. It's like
Book club.
Book club. It's actually, I don't know the author's name. I didn't write it down. I'll get some feedback when I get back on the podcast next week. But the book is called Breaking Free of the Victim Trap. Whoa.
Damn.
Dude.
Boom.
And I realized that this was my entire childhood wrapped up in one book. I'm not even done with it. And I had to put it down
Shit.
because I just had so much like memories, like new memories going, oh, that's why my mom and dad did this.
Just heavy.
That's why the teachers did this. And in a nutshell, it's like the victim mindset, it's a triangle and it just keeps perpetuating itself. And if you're in it, you're all parts of it, or you've had in all parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the victim, so I guess one part of it is the victim, the actual person who gets victimized. The next part of it is the rescuer. The rescuer is the person who, so like, mom in the situation be the rescuer. I got victimized or humiliated or beat down or put down by dad. I'm using these people because they're my personal preference and I see how this plays out in my life. Mom, dad, if you're listening, you're about to learn something. And then at the same time, that rescuer can become a persecutor. So dad was the persecutor. And so a persecutor basically puts someone down. Persecutor is normally the main person in the family who is like, and this book really is based around alcoholism. So like dad, the person who has the biggest problem is the biggest victim. Look at it like that. And they humiliate, put people down, not just to make themselves feel better, but to put that person into a familiar feeling of them, of being in that situation. And then that person basically feels that, that rest, I don't know. I want to talk about this a lot, but I don't feel too confident on it. I've just learned it and it really fucked my mindset up in a good way as far as like, holy shit, like I've been perpetuating this, guilt, shame.
Yeah.
And then, I have so many notes.
Yeah, dude.
It's the guilt, shame, the fear, and I haven't figured out like why my mind works in a certain way or why I have these controlling thoughts in my brain as to why like I have this like, or for a while it was this conversation. It's dialed down now, which is really, really fun, really interesting. Like makes me feel so good. It's dialed down, but I was having these conversations in my brain with my dad. And it was like just saying like who's right, proving the other, it's basically in this book it was talking about me and my dad. And I was like, oh my God, this book's about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the other person is trying to prove the other person wrong.
Yeah.
It's like wrong about what? Any and everything. And it says who can be the bigger victim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, and I look at my mom and dad and they're still consciously growing. And that's kind of it was really just their lifestyle growing up. They, they just didn't they didn't have the same upbringing.
For sure.
And we see the world from a completely new place. And
we got different tools to use,
Yeah. So I'm going to recommend this book to everyone. Like more, like I've learned more from this book than Eckhart Tolle's books. I've been impacted, I guess, more than any other book I've read in the last 3 years.
What's the book called again?
It's Breaking Free of the Victim Trap.
Breaking Free of the Victim Trap.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
It's
Damn.
tough. Like I said, I had to put it down because I feel like I have all this new energy, info in for me inside of me, and it's like impacting me in a tough way. Where I have a new. It's like I put a new pair of shades on, and then I looked at my life, had a new perspective of my life.
Damn.
Like everything. And what I learned, this is really fucked up, that our society lives in this triangle.
Yep.
Every person.
Mm-hmm.
Every person in
It is
some
fucked
shape
up.
or form. For me, I took on the role of persecutor for the most part. And I did this through the Marine Corps, super angry. And the persecutor lashes out because of suppressed anger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into this mode of we feel sorry, we feel guilty for what we did, we feel shame for doing that. And then we're in this victim mode. And then we attract people in our life who rescue us. And the difference between, and something I learned that I have embodied that I understand now, is that there's a difference between a rescuer and a helper. A helper is someone who is like a coach, not a therapist. It can depend. The difference between a helper and a rescuer is, and I just written this down. This is good. I need to find this.
No, I can vibe with it. I can see it.
It's
I can see it.
Give me one moment. I'm gonna look for this. This is big. I think people are gonna take a lot from this. But notes for days.
We got notes, guys.
Okay, the difference between a rescuer and a helper is the one who takes responsibility for the problem and the solution. So let's say that again. The difference between a rescuer, which is a part of the triangle, versus a helper who's going to solve the situation. And this has to do with that problem mindset versus the problem solver mindset. Also, it's very correlated. Is the person who takes responsibility for the problem of the solution. So if you're the rescuer, and I should read this first, when the solution for the problem comes from anyone other than the person who has the problem, it's a rescue. And so basically acknowledging that person's weakness and saying they have this makes them feel weaker and turns you into kind of the rescuer, and that kind of perpetuates and backfires on you because you become immersed in that triangle.
Yeah.
And I've been like, man, how many times have I been like, what's going on? What are your problems? And just thinking like, oh, that person's going to vent.
Yeah.
And it's going to help them to release it. But really, I've just been perpetuating their energy.
Ah.
Just confirming or reaffirming like, oh, you do have this problem. Tell me more about it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus being like, cool, hey, this happens. This is happening in your life. How can we solve this?
Mm-hmm.
And not creating a solution for them. Because then you're becoming the rescuer, giving them advice.
Mm-hmm.
You're feeding into them versus saying, what do you think you can do right now to better yourself or fix this? Instead of saying, what's the problem and how are you going to keep staying in it?
Right.
So, man, it's been like how I interact with people, what I'm giving to people, how many people I've really quote unquote rescued, you know, and like all these positions I put myself into, the relationships I had in my past.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
That's money.
It's big. It's big. So this book is killer.
Yeah, man. I got to check that out. I can already feel like I can relate to those situations.
Yeah.
And seeing that kind of like activity or behavior or whatever I'm putting out there or, you know, trying to solve or trying to help or trying to rescue, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was my intraspacey stuff.
Intraspacey.
Any other extraterrestrial spacey stuff?
Oh, boy. The extraterrestrials, they are kicking it. They are teasing us. They're showing us that they exist. It's crazy that the mainstream world doesn't feel comfortable enough to grasp that yet. Or do they? Or are they slowly, just subtly hinting towards this liveliness out there? You know, it's good stuff. It's big stuff. And
dude,
I like it.
There's going to be some kind of breaking point where like a ship is in the sky that's, you know, irrefutably seen by hundreds of people or more, thousands of people. Or there's going to be like a ship that comes out of the sky. Like there was something on, and I don't know how true this is, but like to impact the culture of the planet, to kind of let them know what's happening, but not put them in a position where it's wide open, but like, give them information that's happening right now and how they can help. It was like, hey, we're all a part of this. So something like the space station, like a piece of the European space station falling and landing in Europe. Like, wouldn't that be like the space station? Why is it, what? It came out of the sky? What caused that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've been in this like, you know, space war up there and, so something like that I think is going to happen. It's really going to, you know, it's going to be so irrefutable. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You know, and there's still such a divide with the whole non-woke versus the woke, you know, the society normals versus the people that are actually like introspective into this kind of world.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be cool for us, the people that sort of know and that are into it and feel it, as opposed to the folks that don't want to hear it or are afraid or who knows, like some people are just, they might not be open to it, or I don't even know like how that's going to work, but I don't know. I think I'm going to have a good time with it. Once I get some information, I'm going to vibe out. I'll feel good about it.
I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be
I'll
like,
be happy.
I'm going to cry tears of joy. Be like, this is it.
Woo woo.
Should I guess the time?
Let's guess the time.
So I think we're obviously over an hour.
Over the hour.
Are we over 120?
Well, you're just going to have to guess the time.
Oh, snap. Okay. I'm guessing the time right now.
I liked where your instincts were going, though.
I'm always feeling into the 120s. I can always kind of feel when we're getting there. I'm thinking like maybe past 125. I'm feeling past 125.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay. So we're like mid, maybe just there between before 25.
Mm-hmm.
I always say 23. That seems to be my number. 123. Let's go for just 122.23.
It is. It's 122 right now. 122. Nice.
Okay, cool. We're close.
Nicely done. Did it.
Honing in the intuition.
Hells yeah, brother.
But that's all the spacey talk that we got for you guys today. We're
Yeah,
gonna go
you
ahead
know.
and close this off. Is that safe to say?
I think so. We're gonna sign it off. Close
Right
it
on,
off.
right
You know, we touched on some spacey stuff. The spaciness can go vastly into other worlds, but
Yeah.
I think we covered it pretty good today. You
I
know,
think so. Really quickly, multiple topics.
Started with some of that global elitist sort of shit, the control, the mind
Yeah,
control,
yeah.
which led into the space war. I mean, it's all hand in hand.
Yeah.
This is where some of this conspiracy stuff like starts to really make sense because it all is hand in hand. The chemtrails, I mean, the weather manipulation. Come on,
Like it's March and it's snowing still.
you know what I'm saying?
It's
I
almost
mean,
fucking April.
Tupac, you know what I'm saying? He has to do with it too. Like,
Ooh.
trust me.
Yeah, it's in there, dude.
So, I mean, I think we definitely got spacey, boy. Now it's time to play with toys. What's your favorite toy from the toy store, son? You were but the boy with the horror store one. Tiger Woods. Just kidding. All right.
We wanted to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 49 of the Lifted Scene podcast here in Seattle with my co-host and producer, Ryan Summers. You guys can find him on Instagram. Check out some of his beautiful work, portraits, see what he's got for sale. They don't last long, so get them while they're hot. You can find him at Not Summers. You can also visit him for business inquiries, meetups,
Yeah.
information at notsummers.com.
Shout outs.
Any lasting words, bud, for this episode?
Pretendliving.com. That's another one of my
Pretendliving.com.
sites.
Yep.
You know, Pretend Media, just out there doing it. Just doing my thing. God bless you all, everybody. Keep killing it. Follow your heart.
I think those are words from the wise. If you guys could, please go check out the Instagram. Hit us up. Hit us up with topics you guys want to hear on. If you guys have some spacey shit you want to send us, believe you me, we will talk about it. Also, if you guys want to be part of our show, if you're going to be a part of the next episode 50. Holy cow, 50 episodes of the
Boom.
Lifted Scene podcast. If you guys want to be part of episode 50, leave us some feedback in a comment or question form via 5-star review on iTunes. We will shout you out in our next segment of shoutouts and reviews, our first segment of every show. If you guys could please go find the Instagram, The Lifted Scene, and send us some topics. We appreciate it. The feedback is always nice too. If you have questions as far as photography, meditation, plant-based diet, self-development, spiritual development, all of that, let us know. If you guys could, you can find myself on Instagram. I haven't been on the social game too much lately. Been kind of slowing down, kind of getting rid of the technology in certain shapes or forms, but I'm still there, still lurking, still watching, waiting for something to pop off that I can spread and share on Facebook.
Heard that.
You guys can find me at Inner Observer. If you guys are looking for coaching, spiritual development, self-development coaching, plant-based living coaching, anything of that nature, schedule's pretty freed up. I'm working with 5 clients right now, but I'm looking to have 10. So hit me up. Let me know if you guys want to get into that. Overall, you guys, thanks for listening. We're almost at 50. Our goal was 50 first, but before we even hit 50, we made it a goal to hit 100 episodes. We're over our 50 reviews on iTunes, so we want to go for a goal of 100 reviews on iTunes.
Yeah.
If you guys could share this with your family and your friends, if you know people who could benefit from the show, that's where the reviews really help, because it helps other people to see the show. Other than that, stay motivated, stay positive, don't contemplate, meditate, get to the Lifted Scene 5 minutes a day minimum. I got nothing else for you guys.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Sensory channel being legit. This is it being discussed in the U.S. Congress.
I'd like to start with you, Dr. Prabhakar. I understand that a lot of folks here on the committee probably don't understand what HARP does. I think most Alaskans don't really know what HARP does or why the agency is involved in it. So a very brief explanation and then a more direct question. Would you be disappointed or would you lose something if HARP were to go away?
Senator Murkowski, as I think you know, one of our programs has been using the HARP facility for the research that it's pursuing. And my understanding is that we did get value out of that interaction. The P in DARPA is projects, and we're not in the business of doing the same thing forever. So very naturally, as we conclude that work, we're going to move on to other topics. So it's not an ongoing need for DARPA, despite the fact that we had actually gotten some good value out of that infrastructure in the past.
Understood.
I'm not sure about you, but that seemed like a super evasive answer. I'm just going to skip ahead to another gentleman who gives a more correct and explains it a bit more of a correct answer.